All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Atazadak, Hero Israel. I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to go into Numbers chapter 35, going into the Hebrew. So Lord willing, you're edified. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Let's get right into it. Salakia. This is Numbers chapter 35 and verse 1. And it reads, Wayadabar Yahweh al-Mashah, and he spoke the Lord unto Moses in the plains of Moab, Ba-Arabath, Mawa'ab, beside the Jordan, Al Yaradan, which is Jericho, Yarachwa, La Amar, to say, Tazawa Atha Banaya Yasha'ala, command to the sons of Israel, right? Wa Nathanwa La Lawayim, and that they give to the Levites, right? A possession, or slakia, an inheritance, right? Ma Nachalath, to possess, for possession unto them, Achaztam, cities, Aryam, to dwell, La Shabbath, Magarash, or Slakia, Wa Magarash, right? Meaning, how do you say it? The word garage means to thrust out, right? So the Israelites are supposed to give the Levites cities, which are suburbs, which will be located outside of the main cities according to each tribe, right? So that word Magarash just means, right, without, right? As in outskirts, right? So it says Wa Magarash La Aryam, right? And it will be outskirts for the cities, right? Or suburbs, however you want to say it. The translation here says pasture land, right? Let's see what the blue letter says. Salakia. Levites, right? Suburbs, right? So yeah, you can say that Levites, this is the law for the cities for the Levites, which were suburbs, right? And so that word for suburb is Magarash, right? Which really just means outside, without, or outside. It's another word like Mahawataza, right, which means without, outside, right? But this is the word can be translated as let's just say suburbs, right? Because that's the closest thing to it, right? But you can say outskirts, right? So Wa Magarash La Aryam, right? And outskirts, right, or suburbs for cities, right? La Aryam, round about them. Sabyab Thayaham, you will give unto them, to the Levites. Tathan Nabu La Lawayim, right? Verse 3, Wa Hayawa Ha'aryam, and it will be the cities unto them, Laham, to dwell, La Shabbath, right? Right, for them to dwell. Wa Magarash Yaham, and will be suburbs unto them, right? Yahayawa, meaning they will be, right, for their beast, La Bahatham, and to their goods, wala rakasham, and to all that is living, right, with them, wala call hayatham, and that signifies all manner of beasts, right, or men, right? So all that is living that is unto them, right? Wama Garashia, right? And the suburbs of the cities, Ha'aryim, which you will give unto the Levites, Ashar, Thanawa, La Lawayim, right? Will be from the wall of the city, Makwayar, Ha'ayar, right? Because again, that word kwayar, kwar means to dig, right? From the wall of the city, or it would read from the dugout areas of the city, because the thing that you first dig out is the wall, right? Before you lay down a foundation, you're going to dig out, right, the surroundings of it, right? You might lay some beams, right, some metal beams or whatever the case may be, right, or some markers, and then you're going to dig round about that land. First, you're going to form the wall, right, and then you're going to work on the inside, which is the foundation, right? So that's what it says, Makwayar Ha'ayar, from the wall of the city and outside of it, Wa Kawataza, Alap Amah, will be 1,000 cubits round about, Sabiab, right? So when it says that, right, it's telling you that the suburbs would be, for example, this is the gate of a city, right? Here's the city gate. So you would measure 1,000 cubits round about the locality of that city, right? 1,000 cubits, right? Which, let's see what 1,000 cubits would be. See if I can just look that up quickly. 1,000 cubits in feet would be 30,000 cubits would be 1,500 feet, right? So that would be 1,000 cubits would be, let's see, it doesn't really say, right? But that's a lot, right? That is 1,500 feet, right? So that extended wide enough to provide the Levites places for pasture, places to build their towns and their settlements, right? It says from the wall of the city and outside would be 1,000 cubits round about. Verse 5, Wamadam, which is the root is madad, meaning to measure, right? And you will measure, right, from the outside of the city, Machawataza la Ayar, towards the region of the eastward, right? Atha, Pa'ath, Quadama, right? Because you got to keep in mind what it's referencing, that eastward, the Israelites were on the steppes of Moab, right? So they were somewhere around here where Arbor is, right? Which Gad, the half tribe of Manasseh and Reuben had received their land right here on the right, right? So they would measure eastward around about these towns, it would be 1,000 cubits, right? So let's see. So it says annual measure outside of the city toward to the regions of the east, 2,000 cubits. Alapium ba'ama, right? Which is, right, um, so aside, let me go ahead and do that real quick, slack it. So aside from the 1,000 cubits, which you would measure, which would be the outskirts for the Levites, right? 1,000 cubits from that same city, from the roundabouts of city, you would measure 2,000 cubits, right? So the 2,000 cubits is still part of the 1,000 cubits. This is where the Levites would build their towns and their settlements. The other side, which is the other 1,000, would be used for their pasture, right? Where they would take their animals and they would have pasture to eat, right? Which is the purpose for the 2,000 cubits, right? And it's only saying, right, round about the regions of the east, right? Because they were on that other side, right? From where is the rising of the sun, right? So the reason why the Levites were given the outside and not the inside is that if there was a war to happen, they would just flee to the inner city, right? Where the strongholds were, right? So they would be round about, right? As a means, because they would be able to use, since they had no inheritance amongst the children of Israel, they would use the outskirts, right, which were the suburbs, which were given unto them in order for them to get pasture, to serve their flocks, whatever the case may be, right? So it says, Wa'atha, Patha, Nagab, and to the region of the south, 2,000 cubits, Alapium ba'ama, and to the region of the west, Wa'atha, Pa'ath, Yum, Alapium ba'ama, 2,000 cubits. Where we read 2,000, right, upon the cubit, as in the measurement of the cubit, right? Wa'atha, Pa'ath, Tazapan, and to the region of the north, 2,000 cubits, Alapium ba'ama, Waha Ayar, and the city in the midst of this, Salakia, town, that shall be the pasture for the towns. And the city in the midst of this, Waha Ayar, Batawak, Zah, will be unto them, Yahaya Laham, right? Suburbs for their cities, right? Magarashia Ha Aryam, right? So you had the inner suburb, you had the suburb where the Levites dwell, and then you had the outer region, right? Which was a suburb as well, but that was made for their cattle and pasture, right? Verse 6, Wa'atha Ha'aryam, and to the cities which you will give unto them, the Levites, Ashar, Tathanawa, Lalawayim, to 6 cities, right? To the cities which you will give unto the Levites. Atha Shash Arya, right? To 6 cities will be of refuge. Hama Kwalat, right? The word Kwalat means to escape, right? Ashar Thatanawa, which will be given unto them to flee hither the manslayer, Lanas Shema Ha Ratazach, right? And beside them you will add 42 cities, Elayaham Thatanawa, Arabayim, meaning 40, Washathayim, and 2 cities, Ayar, right? So besides, right, the cities that were given unto the Levites, right, there's going to be 6 cities of refuge, right, which is 3 on one side, on one region of the land, which is the eastern region, and 3 in the western region, right, for the Levites to flee, right. Call Ha Rayim, all the cities which will be given unto the Levites, Ashar, Tatanawa, Lalawayim, would be 48 cities, right? Arabayim, Washamana, Ayar, right? But that consists of what? 3 cities in one region for refuge, 3 cities in the western region, east and western, right? Then you have, what is that? That's 48. So that would be 48 for 7, 49, 40, 52, 41, 42, right? So that would be 21 cities in the eastern region, 21 in the western region, right? Which would be as suburbs for the Levites, right? Measuring out around about 2,000 cubits, right? Atahan, right, to them, right? So it says all the cities which you will give to the Levites will be 48 cities, right? Unto them, Atahan, Wa Atha Magarashihan, right? And to their suburbs, right? The suburbs includes the section in which the cities themselves are in, which is from the wall of the inner city, 1,000 cubits measured out, right? And the other 1,000 serves for pasture land, right? So when it says to the cities and their suburbs, that is talking about the 1,000 cubits, which is their cities, where their cities will be, and the suburbs is the other 1,000 cubits, roundabout, right? 3 cities of refuge in the east, 3 in the west, 21 cities in the east, 21 cities in the west, right? All suburbs for the Levites, right? Waha, Arayim, Ashar, Tatanawa, and the cities which we will give unto them for a possession. Ma Achazath, right, from the sons of Israel. Benaiah Yasha'ala, right. Ma'ath Harab Tharabwa, right, meaning and the cities which you will give for his possession, right, from the sons of Israel, right, from whom there is much it will be given him, right. Ma'ath, wa ma'ath, meaning from whom, right, from whom he has little. Ha mayat, or few will be given unto him, few will be unto him. Tha mayat wa, right. Ayash kapia nachalathwa, a man to his palm he will inherit, right? As in a man according to what was given into his hand, he will inherit, right? Ashar Yanachalwa, right? Which um which they will inherit unto themselves, right? Which will be given Yathan from their cities, right? Ma Arayawa unto the Levites, La Lawayim, right? Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashah La Amar, and he spoke the Lord unto Moses to say, speak to the sons of Israel, Dabar al Banaya Yasha'ala, and say unto them, Wa Amarath Alham, because you go beyond to the Jordan, Kaya Atham Ibarium, Atha Hayaradan, right? To the land of Canaan, Aratazah Kanayan. Verse 11, Waha Korayatham, right? And you will proclaim unto you, Lakam, cities, Arayim, cities of refuge, Araya, Ma Kwalat, right? And there will be unto you, Tahaya, Yana, Lakam, right? Wanas, Shama, and will flee hither, the manslayer, Ratazach, right? He who smites his soul in error, right? Makah, Napash, Pashaga, right? The word Shaga means error, right? It says here unintentionally, but it just means an error, right? Wa Hayawa Lakam, and it will be unto you, and will be unto you cities, Ha Aryam, for a refuge, La Makwalat, right? From the avenger of blood, Wa Gaal, right? But really that word Gaal, it means to buy back, right? It's translated as redeem, right? But it just means to buy back, right? Because if one was to be slayed, right, wrongfully, and they were apprehended, they would be placed, right, in the face of the judges or the elders of the city. Their case would be spoken, 2 or 3 witnesses, and if they were found guilty, they would be put to death by the revenger of blood, which is a Gaal, which just means to buy back, because he's going to buy back by slaying the blood that was shed, right? Like it says in the book of Genesis, right? By blood being shed, right? Blood must be shed, right? So that was for the reason for these particular cities, right? Wala'a Yamawath, and so that he not die, the manslayer Ha Ratazach, right? Until he has stood Ad Imadwa before the company, La Panya Ha Ida, for judgment, right? La Mashapat, right? Verse 13, Waha Arayim, and the cities which you will give unto them, Ashar Thatanawa, will be 6 cities, Shash Araya, of refuge, Makwalat, which will be unto you, Tahaya Yana Lakam. Atha Shalash Ha Aryam, 2, 3 cities, which will be given Thantanawa, from beyond the Jordan, Ma'aibar La Yaradan, And to 3 cities, Atha, Wa'atha, Shalash, Ha'arim, will be given unto them, Tathanawu, in the land of Canaan, Ba'aratazah Kanayan. Right, so like I was saying earlier, 3 cities of refuge on one side, 3 cities of refuge on the other. Right? Cities of refuge, Araya, Makwalat, Tahaya Yana, right? They will be, right? Now let's look for that. Let's look at that word refuge, just to give you some insight on the different words that reference cities of refuge. Right? Let's go to actually, I'll just go on this page. Right? We're gonna search refuge and see what we get. Refuge. So the first refuge would be Slovakia. I typed it in wrong. I put, alright, here we go. Refuge. So we have 6 results, right? Hasa, right? Which really means hope. It doesn't mean refuge or, right? Like it says here, have hope, right? Mahasa, right? Manas, right? Refuge, right? So let's get that precept, right? Which really means ma, meaning of, nas means to flee, right? Which you will read it, I believe that's Exodus, Slovakia. Nope. That's probably not what I was looking for. Here it is. Right. Kwalat, right? Which is place of refuge, asylum, refuge, asylum. Let's look at that word. Kwalat. To contract, to draw together, right? To be stunted, lacking in parts, right? Let's see. Asylum cities, Kwalat, right? And actually, let's see. Gather, because that sounds familiar. Let's see. Kwalat. See what we can find. Gotta scroll all the way down. Or let's just type in collect. Right. Collect. Right. Nope. Take or gather. Let's type in gather. See what we can get. Alright, Kwalat. Laquat. Huh? See that? Right? It just means, right, ma meaning of, Laquat means to gather, right? As in of gathering together, right? As in cities of refuge, right? So don't let that, don't let that blue letter get you, right? Because it'll tell you, some other bullshit, but it's not. Kwalat, Laquat is the same, right? The cities of it, so really it would roughly be read cities of gathering, right? Now let's look at it's Slovakia. what is it? Refuge, refuge, or escape. I'm gonna look up escape next, right? Let's see, we have Qualat. All right, let's just type in escape, right? Which more than likely will show up in the Exodus. Let's see. Malat, right? Right, so you have, right, which is the same, Laquat. Let's see, denotes the same principle, right? Which is says Malat, to make smooth, to slip away, right? Let's see, to escape, right? Which you will read in let's get that real quick. Genesis 19:17, right? Malat just means to escape. Genesis 19:20, right? Escape, escape, escape. In the sense of slipping away, right? Now we have, right? So Salaki, that is not the same as Laquat, right? Then you have Manas. Let's see if I can get the precept I was looking for, or actually that's what I was looking for, Mapalat, right? Let's get that. So Malat means to slip away, right? It's another way to say escape, right? And then you have Salakia, just bear with me. Mapalat, right? Which is says escape. Let's look at the root. Strong's H6403. Which says to be smooth, to be sleek, right? Which is to slip away, to escape, right? So that word malat is just a shortened word of palat, right? Which means ma meaning of. The lat is just to signify that is using that word, that definition palat, meaning of is of slipping away or of escaping, right? Because palat literally means to be smooth, sleek, to slip away, to escape, right? Which, let me see if I can get the precept I was looking for. Nope, that's not it. Did I click back? I probably clicked back too far. Let's see. Palat, this may be it. Nope, Psalms. Looking for something in the law. Palayat. Right, let's see if we can find that. If not, we'll move on, because eventually we'll run into that word. Because I don't want to waste time too much on just that topic alone. So let's see what we got right here. Salakia. 2 Samuel. Alright, we'll just move on. But you get what I'm saying, right? Qualat, right? Or laquat, right? Just means something that is gathered, right? Of gathering. Sometimes you will read, right? Ma palat, which means of slipping away, or manas, right? City of refuge, of fleeing, right? There's different ways to reference a city of refuge. That was my whole point. But like I said, laquat, qualat, right? It just means to gather together. Verse 15, Labanaya, Yasha'ala, to the sons of Israel and to the sojourner, or Salaki, for the sojourner, Walagar, Wala, Tashab, right? And for he that dwells in your midst, Batha Wakam, Tahaya Yana, they will be 6 cities, Shash, Ha, Arayim, Ha al these, right? For refuge, La Makwalat, Salakia, Lanas, to flee hither, Shama, all that smite the soul of a man in error, called Makah, Napash, Ba Shaga, right? Wa'im, Bakalya, and if upon the instrument of iron, Barazal, they are smitten, Hakawa, and they die, Yamath, a man, he is a manslayer, Ratazach is he, Hawa, right? Mawath, Yamath, surely he will be put to death, the manslayer, Ha Ratazach, right? Because that word Ratazach means to slay, right? Manslayer or manslaughter. Wa'im, Ba Aban, and if upon a stone, right, there is a hand, Yad, which, Ashar, which he dies upon it, Yamath, Baha, he that is smitten, right, or Salaki, he is smitten, Hakawa, and he dies, Wayamath, Ratazak, a manslayer is he, Hawa, surely he will be put to death, the manslayer, Mawath, Yamath, Ha Ratazak. So basically it reads, and if upon a stone there is a hand, meaning someone has a hand in a man dying by the way of stone, whether it be a stone tool, whatever the case may be, right? Which he dies upon it, as in that man that dies by that stone being improperly used, right? He that is smitten and he dies, right? And in other words, he is hit by the stone and he dies because of it, because of that stone, right? Then the person that had a hand in that, which is why it said Yad, it says Yad in the verse, that person is considered a manslayer, right? And he will be put to death, right? Let's see. Murderers will be put to death. So it says anyone who strikes with an iron object, right? So whether it is an iron object, a stone, verse 18, a wa, bakalia, or upon an instrument of wood, aitaza, there is a hand, yad, as in someone has handles, any type of wooden tool, ashar, yamath, which he is put to death upon it, bawa, as in one individual has a hand on any type of wooden tool, and there is a result of one dying because of that, right? Whether it be because of improper function, improper, the way it was improperly built, it's still that person's fault, the person that is using it, right? Salakia. Hakawa, right? He that is smitten, or Salakia, which is smitten, Yamath, he will be put to death, right? Or Salaki, and he dies, right? Ratazach, Hawa, manslaughter is he, surely he will be put to death. Mawath, Yamath, the manslayer, Ha Ratazach, right? So it says, basically reads, if upon an instrument of wood one handles, in which results in the death of a man, and he is smitten and he dies, that person, a manslayer will he'll be, right? Or he will, right? Or Salaki, he has committed manslaughter. Surely he shall be put to death, the manslayer, right? Just to simplify it, right? Verse 19, Ga'al ha-Adam, meaning the revenger of blood. He will put to death to the manslayer, Hawa, Ya-Mayath, Atha, ha-Ratazach. Upon reaching upon him, Ba-Pagaiwa, Bawa, right? Because the word Pagai means to reach, right? Which you could reach for a glass of water, or you could chase, you could be in pursuit, right, of another individual, right? Which is, I believe that scenario is recounted in the book of Deuteronomy, right? There is a man that is put to death wrongfully, right? And a near kinsman finds out, so he's going to be upset, right? So he might be chasing that man, right? Which is the reason why the cities of refuge were instituted, because these localities have to be nearby for the slayer to flee into, right? Because it says in Deuteronomy that the redeemer of blood, which is the near kinsman of that person that was put to death, right? They're going to be in fervent chase, right? Against the one that the manslayer killed, right? So it says, lest the scripture, I believe that's Deuteronomy, says, lest they overtake him, right? As in, lest he reaches unto him, right, before him having a proper trial, right? Or something to that effect. And I don't think that word pagai is used there. I could be wrong, which is, I'm going to look it up, actually. Pagai, and let's get that. Salakia. Pagai, Strong's H6293, right? Pagai, to strike upon or against, right? To strike, a covenant, to cause anything to fall upon anyone, to invade, assailant, enemy, right? Pagai, meet, encounter, reach, right? Which is the closest, right, definition would be to reach, right? You can reach someone in encountering them, right? So the Arabic says pagai, or paga, right? Which it says to happen, to light upon. Pagai, to pain, to inflict, right? It just means to reach, right? Pagai, for example, can get a precept in Genesis, right? You can reach in battle, or, right? What did Abraham say to Ephraim, unto the people of Ephraim, right? Genesis 23:8, and he commanded with them, or he communed with them, saying, if it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat, right, for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, right? Which we're going to look at the text, right? Because the text will read, right, in a different manner, right? Salakia. Waya dabar atham la amar, and he spoke unto them to say, right? I'm Yasha, if it be, as in if it be so, right? Or, yeah, because that word Yasha means to be, right? Something that is, right? If it be, um, Ata Napashkam, meaning to your soul, right? Meaning if you have, if you have in mind to do me this favor, right? La Quabar, to bury to my dead, Atha Mathaya, right? From before me, Ma La Panaya, right? Hear me, Shamai Naya, right? And reach for me, Wa Pagaiwa Laya, and reach for me upon Ephron, Ba Iparan, the son Ban Tazahar, right? So that's what it means, just to give you some context, right? So it says, the Redeemer of blood, he will put to death to the manslayer, right? Upon reaching upon him, right? As in, right, and encountering him, right? Hawa Yabathanawa, he will put him to death, right? So the congregation wouldn't put him to death. The right, the buyer back of blood. That's what Ga'al Hadam means. Ga'al means to buy back. Hadam is the blood. Buy back the blood, right? Which is the blood avenger or the redeemer blood, whatever the case may be. But it doesn't mean blood avenger or nothing like that, right? Wa'im Bashana'ah, and if upon hating, right, as in he had an enmity, right? Ya Hadab Nawa, he that thrusted him, Awa Ha Shalayak, or he throws, or right, he throws against him, Alayawa, Ba Tazayada, or Slakia, Ba Tazadaya, in waiting, right? Because again, that word Tazad means side, right? That's just another word to say to lie in wait, right? Which you have another word to lie in wait is I believe it's, let's look that up actually. Lie in wait. Salakia, let me get that real quick. Might take a little bit longer than usual. Salakia, just bear with me. Should have looked it up in advance. Alright, Khan. See what we got right here. No, it starts with a something. Salakia. It's taking a minute to load. Let's see what we got right here. Let's see. Salakia, bear with me. Arab, to lie in wait, ambush. So that is the actual way you say to lie in wait, right? and he died wa yamath, right? Basically it says, and if in hating him, right, and having enmity, right, because that word shana just means to hate, right? So it says, and if in hating he thrusts to him, or he throws unto him, or against him, right, anything, right? So it says, right, whether he pushes him with something or throws something at him, right? So they could be arguing, he pushes him and he hits the concrete and he dies, right? That's that person's fault because he hated him, right? And he either thrusted him or maybe, they were walking away from an argument. He throws a book, but it happens to have a sharp edge and it goes in his head, right? And he dies, but he didn't mean it, but he still hated him, right? He was lying in wait, right? Meaning he had a purpose to do that, right? Saying, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I keep this in my pocket and I'm just going to throw it at him, right? Or maybe, push him, make sure he hits the concrete, as in, I'm going to plan that. That's talking about premeditated murder, whether it be with a weapon or not, whether you push somebody or not. If you push them, you throw something at them, you're going to have a hand in their demise, right? So that's what it's talking about, right? When it says in lying in wait, right? Which let's see what we get. Hadap, which is Strong's H1920, to thrust, to push, right? Which you can read that in Deuteronomy 6:19, right? To push out all thine enemies from before thee, to push or thrust. That is what it is denoting. Deuteronomy 9:4, right? Speak not thou in thy heart, after that the Lord thy God had thrust them out from before thee, saying, for my righteousness hath the Lord hath brought me in to possess his land, and for the wickedness of these nations does the Lord drive them out from before me. Right? So we went over that. You can look up the video, Deuteronomy 6, Deuteronomy 9. Just means to thrust or to push. Right? Hadap. Right? The Arabic says, I don't know, that says Chinese or something. I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's see what else we get. Probably said some bullshit. Let's see what else we got. Hadap. Let's look at that word tazadaya, right? And it's pretty simple, right? Lying in wait, right? But the root is tazad or tazada, right? Which just means side, right? You can sit in the side of a location and lie in wait, right? It's really, a lot of these definitions aren't really necessary, right? This is just, the complicating, right? Going into, right? Various interpretations, like Yahweh Shai said, right? They bind burdens, right? Oh, okay, this means this. No, you have to say it exactly like this, right? When the Hebrew is comprehensive, you don't need, right, to know 1,000 definitions, right? Yeah, it's not necessary, right? Tazada, lying wait, right? To cut down, to mow, tazada, properly, to fix the eyes on anything, right? Lying wait, which is basically, right, the notion here in verse 20, right? Verse 21, awa ba ayaba. It says, or in having it upon enmity, right? Because that word ayab, right? It means in the sense of enemy or enmity, right? That's what it denotes. Or in enmity, awa ba ayaba is smitten. Hakwa, right? In his hand, bayadwa, right? And he dies, wa yamath. Surely he will be put to death, mawath, yamath. Ha makah, meaning surely will put to death. Meaning he that smiteth him, right? The manslayer is he, Ratazak Hawa, right? Ga'al Hadam, meaning the revenger of blood, he will put him to death, right? Ya Mayath Atha Ha Ratazak, unto the murderer or the manslayer, right? Upon reaching upon him. Ba Pagaiwa Bawa, right? So basically it says, or in enmity he has smitten, right, with his hand, right? He has smitten one with his hand and he dies. Surely he will be put to death, right? He that smiteth him, or Salakia, the smiter, right? Or the assailant, right? It says, manslayer is he, the redeemer of blood, he will put to death to the manslayer upon reaching him, right? Or upon encountering him, right? So let's look at that definition, right? Tazada. So that means side, ayaba. Ayaba. So it says enmity, hostile mind, enmity, hatred, right? Ayab, right, which is to be an adversary, right? To persecute him as an enemy, to hate, right? So it just means enemy or not necessarily an adversary. It just means enemy or enmity, right? So let's see what else we got right here. Numbers 35 and 22. Wa'im ba pathai. And if upon a sudden, wa'im ba pathai, right? Because remember that word pathai means to blink the eye, right? Or at a blink of an eye, or at an instant, right? Bala'a, upon not having enmity, ayaba, right? He is thrusted, hadapwa, or, right? Salak is, he thrust him, or awa ha shalayak, or he throws against him, right? Alayawa, all manner of instrument called kalaya, right? meaning with any item, right? And not lying in wait. Bala'a tazadya, right? So let's look at that word, pathai. Shalaki, let's get that real quick. Pathai would be Strong's H6621. Pathai, the opening of the eyes, hence a moment, right? Suddenness, right? In an instant, root meaning to open the eyes, a wink, a moment, right? So you get the point. So it says, and if in an instant, and not have an enmity towards him, he thrust him, or he throws against him all manner instrument, and not lying in wait. Verse 23, Awa Bakal Aban. Or in all upon all manner of stone, right? Awa Bakal Aban, in which he is put to death upon it, Ashar Yamawath Baha. So it says, dropped in right? Balaa Ra'ath, right? Meaning upon not, right? Seeing to it, as in inadvertently, right? So it says, upon all manner of stone, which he is put to death upon it, right? As in the stone is dropped upon a man, and it wasn't done on purpose, right? And the man didn't see to it, meaning it wasn't intentional, right? Meaning he didn't, sit there, measure it out. Okay, the stone's gonna fall here, and I'm gonna put him to death, right? Wa Yapal Alayawa, and it falls upon him, right? And he die, Wa Yamath, right? Wa Hawa, and he has not have enmity, La'a Awayab, unto him, Lawa, and has not seeked to do him evil, Wa La'a Ma Bakwash Rayathwa, right? Or pain, because Raya just means pain or evil, right? As in, he has not seeked unto his hurt, right? So basically, right, says, and if instantly, and not having enmity, or slack, let me start at another hand, enmity. So it says, so whether a man is pushed or something is hurled against him, right? And that individual has hated him, lying in wait, right? And that person died, or he has enmity towards him and smite him, right, with his hand, right? And he dies, right? The Redeemer of blood was put him to death. And it says, and if at an instant and not have an enmity, right, he pushes, right, or throws upon him all manner of instrument, and not lying in wait, or upon all stone which he did not seek to his hurt, which falls upon him, right, and has not been in enmity towards him, nor seeked his hurt. Verse 24, Wa Shapatwa Ha Ida, and will judge him the company ha'ida between he that smiteth bayan ha'makah and between the redeemer of blood wa bayan ga'al hadam, right, upon or salakit, upon the ordinances these al ha mashapatium ha alha, right. See how many verses we got left. Waha tazayal, right, and they will guard him the company ha'idath to the manslayer atha haratazak from the hand of a redeemer of blood mayad ga'al hadam, and will return him, right, and will turn back unto him waha shayabwa athawa, the company, right, ha'ida to the city of refuge, right, as in they're going to restore him back into the city of refuge. Al ayar ma qualatwa, right, because that word, remember, qualat, it means something to gather together. That's where the refugees would gather together to flee, or they would be placed there so that the Redeemer of blood does not kill them, right? Ashar nas shama, which he will flee there hither, he will flee there, right? Wayasha baha ad mawath, and will dwell upon it or in it, even till dies, right? Ad mawath, the high priest, ha kahan ha gadol, which really reads the priest, the great, which is the high priest. Ashar mashach, which is anointed, which has the anointing unto him. Right, athawa, upon the oil of the sanctuary, bashaman hakwadash. Right, so that's talking about a high priest that was consecrated by that priesthood that was set up during that time, which is the Levitical priesthood, right? Or those that were ministering in those days, right? Wa'im yataza'ah, and if surely he goes out, the manslayer ha-ratazak, to the border, atha gabal, of the city, ayar, right, of refuge, ma qualatwa, which he had fled there hither, ashar yanas shama, and finds him, right, wa mataza'ah athawa, the revenger of blood, ga'al hadam, without the city, or slakia, without the border, as in outside the border, ma chawatazah, la gabal, of the city of refuge, ayar ma qualatwa, and the manslayer, right, wa ratazak, right, or salakia, and slays, right, wa ratazak, the redeemer of blood, ga'al hadam, to the manslayer, atha ha ratazak, it will not be accounted unto him as blood, right? So it says ayan lawa dam, meaning it will be not unto him blood, right? As in it won't be accounted for blood unto him, right? So he's going to be allowed to do it. Numbers 35 and 28. Kaya ba ayar, and because in the city of refuge, Ma Kwalatwa, um, remain inside, cause city of refuge. So basically it says, because in the city of refuge, right, he will dwell, Yashab, even to the death of the high priest, Ad Mawath, Ha Kahan, Ha Gadol, Wa Ahorya Mawath, and afterwards, in which dies the high priest, Mawath, Ha Kahan, Ha Gadol, he will return the slayer to the land of his possession. Yashawab, or Yashab, Ya meaning he, Shab means to return, Ha Ratazach, the manslayer, to the land of his inheritance. Al Aratazah, Achazathwa, right? Verse 29. Wa Hayawa Alha, right? And will be these, as in these ordinances, right? Unto you, Lakam, La Hakwath, for a statue, right? Ma Shapat, for an ordinance, throughout your generations. La Darath Yakam, in all of your habitations. Bakal, Mashabatha Yakam, right? Or in all your dwelling places, whatever the case may be, right? Kal Makah, all that smiteth the soul. Napash, right? All that smiteth the soul, right? Lapaya, at the mouth of witnesses. Salakia. He will be put to death, Ya Ratazach, to the manslayer, Atah Ha Ratazach, right? The killer may be executed by the evidence of the witnesses. Wa'id Achad, and the witness one, they will not answer, La'a Ya Aina, upon the soul, Ba Napash, right? As in, one witness will not cause a man to be put to death, right? La Mawath, to be put to death, right? So basically it says, all that smite a soul, as in to kill him, at the mouth of witnesses, they will be put to death. They will put to death, right, to the manslayer, right? And the witness one will not cause a soul to be put to death, right? Which is why it says, La'a Ya Aina, meaning they will not answer upon a soul, meaning they can't present a testimony if it's just one individual, which was as a witness, right? Numbers 35 and 31. Wa la'a taqwa, and you shall not take an atonement, kapar, for a soul, la napash, of a manslayer, ratazach, ashar hawa, which he is guilty, rashai, for murder, la mawath, right? Because surely he will be put to death. Kaya mawath, ya matha, yamath, right? Basically it says, right, that you're not to take a ransom, a gift, right? If that man is a murderer, he has to be put to death. Simple as that, right? Wa la'a taqwa, kapar, lanas, and you will not take an atonement, right? Lanas al ayar, right? For he that flees to the city of refuge, right? Ma kwalatwa, to return, to his dwelling place, right? Lashab, La Shabbath, in the land, in his land, Ba'aratazah, to return dwelling place. So yeah, it says to return to his dwelling place in the land, meaning in the city of refuge. He will be Adamawath until is dead the priest, Ha-Kahan, meaning the high priest. Right, so you can't take a gift and a bribe in order for someone who flees into the city of refuge to return, right? And to hide the fact that he has to remain there until the high priest, right, is passes away, right? See where we're at, verse 33. Wala'a tha chanayapwa, and you shall not pollute to the land of tha ha-ratazah, right, which you are upon it, ashar atham baha, kaya hadam, because blood, that is hawa, ya chanayap, pollutes to the land of tha ha-ratazah, right, la aratazah, and to the land, right, there will not be an atonement, la yakapar, for the blood, ladam, which was poured out upon it, ashar shapak baha, because if, right, kaya I'm, right, badam shapakwa, because if upon blood, right, blood, it shall be poured out, right? So blood is what pollutes the land, right? In order to atone for the blood that was shed on the land, right, blood has to be shed, right? Which is what Esau did, right? Countless Native Americans slaughtered in the name of westward expansion. Judah, right? The northern kingdom through the Spaniards, right? All this the Lord did not forget, right? So you have to pay not by our hand, but by the divine judgment of the Lord, which is going to come in the form of nuclear fire, right? And that's what's going to atone for the blood that you have shed in America, Babylon the Great, right? So you gotta die. Your children have to die. That's just, you have to deal with it. It's not really us. You're not mad at us. You're mad, right, because your time is up. You're mad because you thought you were gonna get away with murder, robbery, but it's not. You can't. It's not gonna happen, right? So you might as well enjoy, right? Enjoy your family, enjoy your kids, because that's all you're gonna have before the Lord melts your head, right, and your children's heads, and right. So, and that time is coming, right? It's close, right? And the Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right, and you other heathens, right? You're gonna get it as well, right? Because you're a bunch of reprobates, right? You're all, right? The Lord does not care what you've done. He does not care who you helped, right? You have to, your blood has to be poured out in the soils of America, Babylon the Great, by thermonuclear fire. You and your youngest baby child, right? Their blood has to splatter all over America. And that's going to happen when the Lord brings the missiles. So you have to deal with it, enjoy it. Enjoy your time, because it's right. It's time, right? Simple as that. The Lord, right, kept us safe, secure, right, right until the time when He said, "Okay, bam, I'm gonna wake up the men of the Lord, the prophets. We're gonna tell you your judgment," and you know it. You know you see all these so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. Everybody knows the truth is out. Basically, the jig is up. Everyone, those that know that they are Israelites, everyone knows. I mean, it's not a secret. You're Esau. You're the devil. Your other nations are going to be destroyed, right? And the Lord, His master plan was to have us until this very day, right? Hidden, right? Because that's what we were, right? We've been hidden, right? The Lord hid us, right? The Lord clothed us. The Lord fed us, right? Up until that very last moment, right? When we find out the truth. And that's, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? And, it's time, right? So your blood is required, Esau. You other nations, you're just going to be caught up in the destruction. I mean, because you didn't really do anything, but you've made a covenant with the devil, right? These white Caucasoids, right? Subhuman, right? It's just, that's just who you are. You can't help it, right? So the Lord said that your blood is required, right? But not everyone that looks. This isn't about color, because not everyone that is white, Chinese, you may look Asian, you may look right Middle Eastern. That doesn't mean that you're Edomite or this and that, right? Because we're the only camp that is going to tell you the whole truth, right? Because I noticed there's other camps that will see a so-called white man, and you got to try the spirit by the spirit. But some of our people are light-skinned. Some of our people look like the other nations. I'm not saying our people look like white people, because there's a difference, right? But you do have some Israelites that look like white people, right? But you can tell. I mean, it's just the characteristics, right, the right. You just have to try the spirit by the spirit, right? But as a whole, right, you're the goddamn devil, right? You're all, you're wicked. You're all wicked. You're, Anyways, your blood is required, Esau. Simple as that. You got to deal with it. Thus saith the Holy Bible, right? But we are scattered in all nations. So we're looking for those that believe in the testimony that we have, the 100% truth, right? What the RFID chip is, right? What is the signs of the end of this devil's rulership, right? Which we are in that time, right? So this isn't a color thing, right? But we know you are the goddamn devil, right? But Jake, you can just tell Jake, anyways. It's not that hard, It's not rocket science, to see, it's not hard. But anyways, Numbers 35 and 34. Wala'a tatama, meaning, and you will not defile to the land Athaha Rataza, Ashar Atham, which you are dwelling in it, Yashabiam, Baha, Ashar Anaya, which I dwell in your midst, Shakan, Salakia, Batawaka, Kaya Anaya Yahweh, because I am the Lord that dwells in the midst of the sons of Israel. Shakan, Bathawak, Banaya, Yasha'Allah. Right? So let's see if we have some other definitions right here. So yeah, I mean, you other heathens, I mean, if you don't believe you're an Israelite, then you're not. If you don't believe in the testimony that we have, then that's just too bad, because the Lord is still going to destroy you. If you don't believe in the RFID chip, that it is, right, the charagma, the mark of the beast, well, you're shit out of luck, right? Because you're not going to be saved in that day, right? And the day, right, is near, right? Simple as that, right? Um, so Pathai, so I already looked over that. Actually, that's it, really. Oh, Khanap, right? Which means to pollute, right? So, like, here, let me get that real quick. See, this is why I prepared the lesson in advance, right? Because the book of Sirach says that prepare without, meaning prepare what you will say and then speak, right? Which is what I've done in times past, prepare a lesson, if you have to, write the precepts, save them on your phone and then read them from there, you know? Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with warning the people, because the point is to warn the people, like, but the point is we're supposed to teach our people as well, right? Revelation chapter 11 says, right, measure the temple, meaning teach the people, right? Yeah, it's about a warning. You have to warn the people, but you have to teach them as well. You're not just supposed to be on Deuteronomy 28 like other camps do, but you're not just supposed to be warning the people. You got to go into prophecy, right? You got to teach, right? Teaching is more than just psychobabble, right? We're saying, repent or die, right? There's a whole structure that you have to have when teaching. You have to warn, right? You have to, right, show them what prophecy is. You have to give them understanding. Look, this says this, right? You have to know the breakdowns, right? Which is why it's good to go into Hebrew. It's not required. You don't need to know Hebrew for salvation. But if you want to get more insight, it's always good to go into the Hebrew, right? But with that, it's Brother Yatazadak, Hero Israel. This is Numbers chapter 35. Going into the Hebrew, Lord willing, you were edified. And as always, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwame Yasha'Allah, Abad Babal, Shalom.